Now, you're in North Carolina. What is Donald Trump's path to victory there and collectively?
Yeah, this is Raleigh, which is the capital of North Carolina. It's a state of 10.5 million people, so it's bigger than New South Wales. This is the State Assembly building behind us. It's one of the key battleground states, won narrowly by Donald Trump at the 2016 election. There is a pathway here for Donald Trump to win the election. It's so clear. It's very similar to how he won office in 2016. All the polls are showing that Joe Biden's polling is way up right across the nation, but in the battleground states, he's got a narrow margin. Texas, Florida, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan. Narrow margins ahead, Joe Biden. Now, you can make a case in any one of those states for Donald Trump to win. Now, he has to win Florida and Texas, sure, but he can afford to, say, lose North Carolina or lose Pennsylvania or win them and lose a couple of the others like Wisconsin and Michigan. He can do it. And you've got to say, on past form, his ability to campaign in the final weeks, the run of the issues, the momentum, and the way the polls have turned out to be wrong in the past, there's absolutely no doubt that Donald Trump can win this election by narrowly winning that clutch of battleground states.
Is there a big mask presence in North Carolina, because it does have a very large ageing population?
Yeah, look, in North Carolina, the state government here have mandated masks. You're supposed to wear them when you're out and about close to people, certainly when you're indoors. But the way these laws are enforced in America is totally different to what we've seen in Melbourne, for instance, where people are arrested on the street or fined on the street for not wearing their masks. A lot of establishments don't bother with it. A lot of people don't bother with it. There is just a complete lax level of enforcement, not just in North Carolina, but in a lot of other states too. The authorities here just don't impose the social distancing restrictions in the way that we've become used to in Australia, in the various states. And this underscores why you can't sort of blame all this on Donald Trump. It's so divergent here. There's local city councils, there's county governments, there's the state governments. Everybody has a role. A classic little story I'll show you in the package later on, Chris, but just in the state south of here in South Carolina, there's a dancing festival was about to be held for seniors, mind you, in the midst of the pandemic just a month ago. They allowed them to have this dancing competition. They said, "I'll wear some masks, you'll be all right." They had their dancing competition. Hardly anyone wore their masks. Now 5 of those people are dead. So we just have no enforcement of even the most basic social distancing standards in this country.
Now, more than half of voters where you are in that state have voted already. What's the sense you're getting about how it's going to sway either way?
There's a lot of contention about this, Chris, and of course no one really knows because it's the highest level of pre-poll or early voting the US has ever seen. There's already more, the number of people who have voted early now is already more than half of all the people who voted in the last election. So it's been in North Carolina and a lot of other states as well. Early on, a lot of the pundits were saying this is Democrats or swinging voters getting in early to get rid of Donald Trump. They're not so sure anymore. A lot of people are Trump supporters taking the opportunity to vote early. And I think that seems to be pretty obvious now, that a lot of people have just realised, especially with the pandemic about, the coronavirus about, instead of lining up in a queue and getting stuck in crowds on polling day, they're taking their time and the opportunity to go and vote early. So I don't think either side can read anything into it. You're getting both sides voting early, but it's going to be strange. It's going to be meaning the latest figures I saw tonight was that on polling day, next Tuesday, you might only have 30% of the votes cast.
Is the pandemic still the thing that's spoken about when the election is discussed?
Look, the Democrats want to make it the #1 topic. It's all they want to talk about. It's about how the country's out of control. It's Donald Trump's fault. We've got to come in and fix this, even though they don't really have the answers. But I've got to say, around the community, sure, there's a lot of mask wearing, but people are very practical about it. People aren't very paranoid. They're going about their lives and they're not letting it, as Donald Trump would say, dominate their lives. You get a lot of that sense here. I think in many cases they're too blasé about it. They need need to become a little bit more strict in their adherence to social distancing. But no, people aren't that fearful. They're not that worried about it. It is strange, although Joe Biden would have it that everybody's in a panic. I must say that you will get more of that in the bigger cities. We haven't been there this time around. New York City, Los Angeles, I understand there's a bit more of a focus on it. But I tell you what, out here in mainstream America, people just aren't talking about it. They're just getting on with their lives as best they can.
All right, we'll see your reports very, very shortly. Thank you for that.